Hi guys, we're going to go through the gravity notes here today. What I've done to make it easy for you is I'm going to read this article for you, and you're going to have to put some of the words from the article into your notes. So I've color-coded everything with highlighting. So I want you to listen to a paragraph and then pause the recording and copy the words that you need to into your notes so that you'll have complete notes to study from when it's time for your test on gravity, because you will have a quiz on gravity at the end of this module. So these notes will help you with that. So we're going to start at the beginning. This is all about gravity and outer space and what effect it has on our solar system, because it's responsible for everything. So let's learn all about that. Early Greek and Roman astronomers were the first to observe the planets seem to move around the sky while stars appear to be more stationary in their position. In fact, the word planet comes from the Greek word planistai, which means to wonder. Click pause on the recording and copy these words, please. Paragraph 2. During the 1600s, a German astronomer named Johannes Kepler made careful observations of planets and their movements around the sun. Kepler discovered that planets travel around the sun in a particular path called an orbit. One complete orbital path around the sun is called a revolution. Note on your note sheet over here, you need to put the green words in this box. And then this box is all filled out for you because that's a very important fact. So you're going to want to remember that an orbit is when a planet goes around the sun. And then I need you to put the blue words in this box. So go ahead and pause the recording again while you copy this information down. Okay, here we go. Third paragraph. Later during the same century, Sir Isaac Newton made several discoveries that helped explain Kepler's observations about the orbits of planets. Newton's laws of universal gravitation states that every object in the universe attracts every other object. Okay, let's go over to our note sheet here. I'm going to scooch it up a little. You can see we have two boxes again. The first one, who's Sir Isaac Newton? Go ahead and copy the purple words there. And then this one's to explain Newton's laws of universal gravitation. So go ahead and copy the yellow ones in there. So pause the recording while you copy these things down. Next paragraph. How strongly objects pull on each other depends upon two factors. Number one, how much matter an object has, that's its mass, and how far apart the objects are, that's the distance. So the two factors are mass and distance. Go ahead over here to your note sheet. You'll see the green here matches this green, and copy down matter and how far apart the objects are. You can pause the recording while you do that. Next paragraph. The forward motion of the planets is caused by inertia. Inertia is an object's resistance to change its motion. An object at rest will stay at rest unless a larger, unbalanced force causes it to move. Also, an object will continue to move in a straight line unless a larger, unbalanced force stops it. So the only part of that paragraph you need to write down are those two words in blue. Inertia is an object's resistance to changing its motion. Just like us, we're stubborn. When we get something going, we want to leave it that way. We don't like change, so it takes a lot of force to make it change. So inertia, write that down, pause the recording if you need to, and we're going to move on to the next section here. We've got a nice diagram showing how that gravitation works around the sun, and we got a lot of words in this next paragraph, so listen carefully before you write anything. Without gravitational force between the sun and the planet would continue to move in a straight line further into outer space. In other words, each planet continues to move forward because of its inertia, but because of the larger gravitational force of the sun, it travels in a curved path. In other words, if the sun was not yanking on the planets would fly off into space. So the gravity, the force that the sun exerts on the planets is what keeps them in orbit around the sun. So that's good for us. It keeps us from floating off into cold, nasty space. So now you need to come over here to your note sheet. Let me bring this up a little. And you need to copy all those purple words. There's a bunch of them. So go ahead and pause the recording again. And when you're through, start it up and we'll move on to some definitions for you. All right, here we go. We got 3 important definitions. You've already talked about this a little bit. You watched the video and heard the song about the difference between mass and weight. So we're going to go over that information again. Gravity is the force of attraction between objects that have mass, and it depends on the mass of an object and the distance between them. And the definition of mass then is the amount of matter that is in an object. It is measured in grams or kilograms. An object with mass can be pulled by the force of gravity. And then our third definition, you have to know, weight is, on Earth here, we often say weight when we mean mass, but scientifically, weight is actually the force of gravity on an object. So your weight on Earth is based on the gravitational pull of the Earth. And your weight can actually change based on the amount of gravity wherever you are. So an astronaut weighs less on the moon because there's less gravitational force. And that means out in space where there's no gravity, your weight would be 0. So that's an important thing to understand. So come over here now and copy your yellow words onto the yellow and your green words onto the green. And while you're copying here, I'm going to go ahead and put my blue highlighting in because I forgot to do that. And oops. There we go. You do have several blue words that you need to get in here as well. So at the end, there's a summary statement you should write, something important you learned, and something important the notes explained. And then you have 3 questions to answer. So go ahead and pause the recording and finish copying all your notes and write your summary. And then when you restart the recording, I will read the questions for you. Okay, question number 1. Describe how planets are kept in motion within their orbits. Look back through your notes and find the correct vocabulary word that explains that. And you make sure you use that word in your answer. And you can pause the recording while you look for that. Okay, question number 2. Describe the role inertia plays in keeping planets in their orbits. Again, go back and look in your notes. Make sure you understand how that is. If you're stuck, ask your teacher to help you. But you can pause the recording while you answer that. And then when you come back, I'll read you the last question. Okay, question number 3. Describe how Newton's laws of universal gravitation apply to the motion of our planets in our solar system. That's your last question. When you're done answering that question, then you need to go back to Canvas and go back to the mission and make sure you follow the rest of the steps to complete your mission. And again, if you have any questions at all, you just find your teacher and ask, and we'll be happy to help you. Have fun.